Hey, Internet. Welcome back to Same-ish Different Day, the podcast where we continue the march into madness. I'm Raza Malik, and I'm joined with my Amazeballs co-host, Bailey Nargang. Also featuring the lovely Wine Mom, the arbiter of everything TikTok and YouTube.
Hey, it's Wine Mom.
Bailey here. Gotta drop that reminder that you can find this show on any streaming service you use. Remember to leave a sassy review, and you want to bash us or our opinions generally? Well, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and maybe some other places in the future.
I join these guys weekly to keep their egos in check as we break down complex social issues and talk about why your kids shouldn't be watching family vloggers.
We talk about real-ish on a real level. Ain't got time for the Twitters? Don't worry, we have collectively wasted our existence combing the internet for you.
Also, before these two get carried away, don't be shy. Join our Discord for the inside scoop. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can work your way up our very own class system. And don't worry, it's pay to win.
So, welcome back to another episode of Same Shit, Different Day, where we try not to rip each other's heads off.
Let's get it. What's up, internets? Welcome to Same-ish Different Day, the show with a name that we can't say anymore. This week, Raza turned 30. Everyone clap! Everyone clap! Everyone clap! Yeah! So, this also means...
Read the first line.
Okay, sorry. All right, I will read verbatim from the script this week, folks. Just so this is immersion. This is a behind-the-scenes look, okay? So, Bailey wants to talk about opening up a new chapter, the start of a new 10-year span. Is there more pressure the older you get, or is age just a number for maturity at that point? Are 30-year-olds really any different than the late 20s? But, okay, so, like, going from there is, like, the thing that we're looking at is everyone makes a big shindig about turning 30, right? What's the difference between that and turning any other number, right? You're saying the 20s, you're saying 25, right? Why do we panic just because it's a 3 and a 0? Now, there's a lot of obvious reasons, but I was going to... Thank you, Raza. Take it away.
Oh, damn it. It's just, I think it's because, like, yeah, as you said, a new chapter, and a new time or a new decade. So I think it's just like the segments in our life that are like divided by those decades that are significant. So like 20 to like from 2020 to 21 is not that big of a deal, but from like 20 to 30 is a huge thing because like you've learned or like you've grown in that time span, or hopefully you have, right?
So, like, it's like you think more important growth has happened in that time gap.
Yeah, it's because of all these experiences. Fuck, of all of these experiences that you are getting over the last 10 years.
See, but then that's when it's like you get into people with kooky lives, like me or Wine Mom, right? And what if you went through a whole bunch of stuff when you were like 15, 16, 18, you know what I mean?
Haven't you grown then?
But what if that's like, what if that 20 year was super transformative for you? Like, what if your pivotal moment of finding purpose in life was at like 22?
At 20?
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, it happens at different stages at everyone's life, but like generally speaking, just like around that time when people like it's like going through like when you turn 18, right? Now you're an adult. So like there's these like steps that you are taking from like at the age of 22 when you become who you want to become, but then you can also like change and stuff. So like I think, yeah, the first stage is figuring out who you are. That'll be in your 20s. The second stage is like determining if that person is who you want to be. That would be in your mid 30s, and then the rest of your life you will adapt, I guess, or just go in between of who you want to become.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to
So
hear your
that's-
perspective on it, Mom. I think there's a lot of ways this can go. I want to hear what you think.
Oh man, I have a lot of opinions about turning 30. I have a lot of opinions. I think okay, so first I guess let's break it down. When you turn 30, there's all these societal pressures of like now you're 30 cuz like when you turn 25, people are like, "Oh, you're an adult now." But when you turn 30, it's like you're really an adult now. And then there's all these societal pressures of like what stages to be at in your life. And this is like the kind of stuff that we see on social media, the stuff that we see in TV, on movies, where like it's like okay, I think about when we were kids and we would watch those like kid shows on Disney Channel, and one of the characters would be like 31, and everybody would be like, "Oh, this old man, old, they're so old." But when I look at it now, I'm like, they really no, it really wasn't like that. Like okay, um, but for me, I feel like 30 is going to be the time when I'm no longer a kid, if that makes sense. Because I feel like even up until your late 20s, like my mom still calls me kiddo. Like I'm still like a little kid. And I mean that's never going to change. My mom's going to call me that my whole life, but I'm very much given child like treatment, I guess, at the age
Yeah.
that I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm curious as to see how it's going to change when I'm 30. But I think there's this pressure for us that like once you turn 30, like you can't have fun anymore. I think is the big thing for me. Is like
Yeah.
once you're 30, like that you're boring now, you pay taxes, you work full time, you have to pay for your car, like you're now, the one that everybody's like looking at you to be responsible like an adult. Like I'm already doing all of that stuff now, but it's like there is no room for you to be like I need help or I've made a mistake or I'm stressed out once you're 30. People are like, "Okay, well you've experienced miniature adulthood, which is from 20 to 30. Now you're in major adulthood, figure it out." But for me, I feel like I'm low key excited to turn 30 cuz for me it feels like it's a new decade and like I'm legit just going to really be able to be me. Because I feel like in your 20s you're still absorbing a lot of pressure from outside because people will be like, "Oh, you're just 28 or you're just 29." Like, "Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Like you're still a kid." But once you're 30, people are like, "Well, come on, you're 30. Grow up."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think once you turn 30, like that's your opportunity. Catch me,
Yeah.
okay? When I'm
Yeah.
So
30, somebody's
Yeah.
going to try and tell me something about
Record this.
anything. Listen, I'm literally going to be like, I'm a 30-year-old woman. I'm going to do what I want. And if that
I
means
pay
acting
bills.
like,
Yeah.
right. And if that means acting like a 20-year-old, fuck you. Don't care. I'm going to do it.
don't know, don't care. But
I
so
Yeah.
like.
Raza,
Yeah.
Raza, can I? Because it's your words. I really like you. You named it like your 30s are a weird purgatory, is what you said in the
Yeah.
script. I kind
Yeah.
of really vibe with that. Because
Because it is because because like 30 you're still able to do like all the young shit, right? You're still able to like be considered like a part of that entire world. And like I was even looking at like our generational thing. A lot, like for example, a lot of YouTubers that I know, I'm discovering now they're older than me, but like 2 years. I'm just like, but they don't look and act like they're 32. So I think it's just like a generational, like a like a like our when our parents were 30 years old, they had to act in a certain way, but now we're when we go into our 30s, we're closer to people in their 20s. I find it.
This is the thing. I grew up with a young mom. Like my mom had me and my sister when she was in her early 20s.
Yeah.
So for me, like when my mom was 35, I was like, "Oh, she's like young." Like
Hmm.
my grandmother still called her like treated her like she was not treated her like she was a kid, but like my mom was fun. Like we had so much
Yeah.
fun just like being young and fun. Even when my mom turned 40, I was like oh, she's so young. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
why do I not afford myself the same, I guess, space to be 30 and have fun? It's like this whole, because this is a thing that I think specifically women, right? Age is a big
Mm,
thing for a woman because that's when you start to deteriorate in the eye of man, right? That's
yeah.
the whole trend on social media and whatever.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I remember when my mom turned 40,
Yeah.
and me and my mom are very similar. Our personalities, our style, like a lot of things similar, very similar.
Yeah.
And she would wear a lot of the same clothes that I wore. And I remember her saying to me, like she seriously said to me, she was like, maybe I should start dressing more like a mom. And I was like,
Ugh.
shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, no, no. And now, like, my mom is no longer 40
Hmm.
and she dresses fun, and I'm like, why can't you have fun? Like, why do there have to be this pressure, like, you're old now, you have to be old? It's so, why? Who
That's that's
cares?
that's that's the benefit I've had from working in the service industry, right? Like having all those years working in kitchens and as a server, like I was 19 working in a restaurant with like a 32-year-old teacher who needed to make extra money in the summer. It was like a
Hmm.
big fucking like okay, so I need to not place these expectations cuz I thought teachers were gods just a year ago. And
Yeah.
now here I am and I'm their manager in the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it's like I shouldn't put any pressure on people just because they're not in a certain place in life by a certain set number of years you've spun around the sun, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, it's
It's
just kind of, yeah, yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's also just to add to that super quick is like in the and just meeting hippie diverse people and like working in bars and as soon as you meet people who don't live the like straight and narrow lifestyle, you quickly realize that these standards aren't for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's very like because I'm like looking at like even from my own like culture and stuff of how like the babying goes on to like way past your your 30s.
Yeah.
So like
Mm-hmm.
even then there's like a development thing there because like um the the men in like my culture and stuff like that are like they're kind of like not as mature because like here in Canada in the States like you're supposed to go out when you're 18, get a house, get a job and whatnot. It's very different over there. You're supposed to like live with your parents up until like
Mm-hmm.
your mid 40s
Mm-hmm.
or some
Mm.
shit like that. So it's just like yeah, I look at it uh from that side too of how it's like
But see,
different.
I low-key think that's the vibe. Okay, listen, hear me out. You shouldn't baby your child in their 40s, obviously. Like,
Mhm.
no. But I think, like, if you want to still have your child living with you and, like, because I feel like the way that the economy has changed, like, having your kids home a little bit longer is not terrible.
Mhm.
And I think,
Mm-hmm.
like, in my mom's instance, like, she both her kids are out of the house now. I've
Mhm.
been gone since I was 26, and my sister only just left recent, like maybe a year now. And like
Mhm.
now my mom's at home alone, and there's this weird like she likes being home alone, but also she like misses the company because it's like
Mhm.
for me, I think like when you have a kid and they're little, right? You're spending a lot of time being their parent, right?
Yeah,
Teaching
yeah.
them, helping them grow, guide them, pointing them in the right direction. But then
Mhm.
they turn 25, 26, and they become independent and they're like working full time, paying you rent or whatever sort of dynamic you have in your household. And then
Mhm.
they become your friend. So then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, do you want your friend to move out and become independent? Sure, but also
Yeah.
like it's nice to have your friend around, you know?
Yeah.
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 That, well,
Yeah,
that's like
yeah, sorry, Billy,
even when
go.
you talk about winding life paths, like that's the part of the personal life I'll expose is like you're looking at family members of mine, right? Like some of them, they had kids early. So when they had kids early, that means they skipped the whole. You're saying you need the 20s to find yourself. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
I know, even in my family, if you got the kids, then you're missing that whole decade to like vibe out and figure out who you
Yeah,
are as a
yeah,
person. You're so busy investing in this other little tiny human, you
yeah,
forget to do it
exactly.
for
Yeah.
you. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes a weird challenge because then you got to accept sometimes when people trip up because they finish raising the kid and then they've never taken the time to like develop their own emotional capacity. So I found
Yeah,
that
that
complex
Yeah.
interesting.
that yeah that's why like they're literally pushing like my family has been uh like the thing is to like get married in your late 20s, have kids by your mid 30s, and
Mhm.
then such and such. So like, and then I'm looking at it like it's such a weird like pressure, unnecessary pressure that you have to take, and it like yeah, it's like yeah, like
Mm.
as you said, Bailey, like it with all those things, you don't have time to develop your thing, like who you are and stuff. So like
Yeah.
when things are being pushed on you, obviously it's gonna affect you differently
Yeah.
than
I
as
I think it's like I think one of the most important things that we've touched on here is like how each stage of your life is a different form of growing up. And to Bailey's point of like being a young parent and like having kids and not having time for you. I think it can go either way.
Mhm,
Hmm.
For me, like I'm sure my mom's experience was that like she had to grow up and be a mom and she didn't have a choice. She was like 22 with two kids. She had to be an adult, right?
mhm,
And like that's hard and it's scary. But I
mhm,
think for me, like I got to grow up with my mom at the same time she was helping us become adults. And when I
mhm,
look back at the stages of my life, like I can look at from like my early stages of like 1 to 10, and like it
Hmm.
was just a lot of like having fun because my mom was young and still wanting to do childlike things, so we would play video games and do fun stuff like that. And
mhm,
then in my teens, when I was going from, the 13 to almost 20 was when like my mom was in that stage of like, okay, I've been a mom now from when I was 20 and dialed back and really let us like experiment and become adults and
mhm.
learn ourselves. And I think like because my mom was young and had that young perspective of like what she gave up, I feel like she almost parented us better
Yeah,
because she allowed a lot more freedom. And I felt significantly more connected to my mom being closer in age, but
mhm.
I think that's also depending on your parent, like how you parent as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I remember a lot of my friends being like, "Yeah, my parents are like gonna retire soon. I don't relate to them at all. They're kind of boring and they're annoying." And I remember being like, "That's
yeah,
so sad." Like I'd go shopping on the weekends with my mom. We watch movies together. Like my mom's always been my pal. And then
yeah,
like now in my adulthood, like me and my mom have a very interesting dynamic. A lot of people are like, "You're so lucky to have that like we're very comfortable to talk about things with each other." So
Hmm.
even though she's, obviously 20 years older than me, like we're able to just communicate really well, I think.
yeah.
And
Like,
because she's still young enough to kind of understand like where I'm at, she's not too
mhm.
far removed from it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like. Okay, sorry, go, man.
no, I was gonna let you get in there because you've got the personal experience. I think you could probably talk better on it.
Yeah, like I do feel like kind of like growing up, I was the only one like whose parents were like together and like shit like that. So it was like kind
Mhm.
of weird having to like talk about my home life because I
Mhm.
couldn't really relate to any of my friends. And then
Mhm.
growing up, I realized, okay, it's like it's all like different. People have different aspects of life, and like yeah, like having your parents there is a very uh it's like a very uh it can be like a rewarding experience
Yeah.
depending on how your parents are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like I think certain aspects of that can be
Yeah.
looked at and changed.
Well, I think like I had both dynamics of like older parenting and younger parenting, right? Because
Yeah.
my mom and my dad's parents, like my dad's father and my mom's mother, were
Hmm.
both in their 50s,
Mhm.
and they were like, the older version of parents for us as kids because my parents were still kids. So there was like
Uh-huh.
it was like having two sets of parents. So
Yeah.
I had that like experience of like being around older people as well, which I think really made me appreciate older people growing up. Like
Mhm.
my respect for like grandmas and grandpas, they're elite. But it's like seeing both of dynamics because I think like my mom, she let us get away with a lot of stuff, but she was very
Mhm.
firm and she
Mhm.
was she still like had rules. But my grandmother or my grandfather, you literally I could murder someone in front of them and they were like, "It's fine. You're so beautiful and sweet and perfect and I love
Yeah.
you."
Yeah.
So it's like I imagine someone with older parents, like sure there's a degree of parenting, but I imagine them being very much like, "I'm too tired for this
Yeah.
Yeah.
crap. Like, go ahead
Like
and drink with your friends in the basement.
Like
Just leave me alone."
super quick.
honestly, yeah, yeah.
My quick one was because even just thinking of this, I was walking down the street the other day and I was like, I'm in a quite well off neighborhood as I'm walking home. And there's
Mhm.
all these parents there with their kids tobogganing, but like none of them are participating. And I was like, that would
Yeah.
suck. I
Yeah.
was like, imagine being like 60. Like, sure, you got all this money, you got everything you could ever want, but you just got to stand there as you watch your kid slide
Watch your
down the
kid,
hill.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
that's the
mean?
Yeah.
thing, like yeah, like if your parent it's one thing if your parent is there, but it's another thing if your parent is actually engaging with you as you grow up. Because I know people in my hometown, like their parents were around, but they were like barely socialized with
Mhm.
them. Like it's all like on first name basis or some shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for myself, the biggest fear of age, because it's I don't really care about getting old.
Hmm.
Um, I think I've had a lot of time to think about it, and the fact of like getting old is not really fear. I think for me, it's
Yeah,
more about the abilities in life. Like I want to be able, because my mom did go tobogganing with us, and like
yeah.
she went up and down this stupid hill, and like me and my
Hmm.
mom used to go rollerblading together and go on the bike together, and like we did all those kind of things. Like my mom was very much like, "Oh, you want to do an active thing? Like let's do the active thing, right?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if I get to that point where I'm too old to do that, because even now um I'm not that old, and like the idea of going rollerblading with my kid is like, no, no,
No.
by
What?
yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think so. You
Yeah.
know?
And like it's yeah, like like looking back, it was like yeah, my parents were there, but like just the amount of time and effort they did they had to
Yeah.
put through it, I was like that's
Yeah.
like I may be selfish, like it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Um, it's just do what you want to do.
I think the big thing is like stop making people feel dumb for getting old because it's literally out of our control. Literally,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
stop.
That's. It's really. I.
I'm gonna cry now.
Yeah.
Um,
It tears
but
me the
yeah.
hell up. It just tears me up. It's a confusing thing to like have to feel pressure because like
Mhm.
I've got so many mentors in my life that is like they're sitting there they were checked in a psychiatric ward at 25. They're fucking
Mm,
right.
Mhm.
They're missing years of their life. So like how am I gonna sit here and stress out because I don't have some job title yet when like The homie can't even remember several years of his life. So what is the race? What are we racing towards, and why? You know, like, it drives me up the
Yeah.
wall on a regular basis.
You know, that's a very big thing that you just said there that I think is going to get overlooked is like you there's so much of your life you forget. Like
Hmm.
as you're getting older cuz there's like sometimes I hang out with friends that I haven't seen in a while and they'll remind me of like entire chunks of like my life and I'm like
Oh
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Glad it
Yeah.
happened. Okay. You know, that's yeah. Man,
That's
getting
that happens
yeah.
often for me when I was when a little bit of a
I just
degenerate. Those years fly by.
you
Yeah, it is
know,
just like I don't remember what happened last week, so it happens often.
I don't know. I just there's all this stuff around getting old and I think because this is what I was going to say to you guys before we started recording is I think our generation
Mm-hmm.
is starting to understand age differently. And I think
Yeah.
like the movement around becoming older is changing.
Hmm.
Um because before it would be like 30 is horrible and now people are like 30 is like your grownhood. Like especially for women, like this is like our, you know, womanhood. Like you're grown, you're a woman, like this is your
Mm-hmm.
chance, right?
Yeah.
Um to like really enjoy your life and to be able to just like tell people to like fuck off and leave you
Yeah.
alone and like let
Honestly.
you do your own thing. And I think because when you're in your 20s and your teens, it's very much about like your social circles and like you feel this pressure to like be out drinking and partying and going to the club and doing all these things with your girlfriends and being successful and working 70 hours a week. I don't know why we romanticize that. It's gross, but
Yeah.
just like trying your hardest to be as successful as possible so that you can coast the rest of your life. And it's like, why not just like enjoy each phase of your life for the phase of your life that it is?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I was, yeah, it just like I was even like thinking about it, yeah, I'm like, yeah, holy shit, I'm like, like in my 20s, I didn't do much, almost like I didn't like, I was like, I wasted literally 10 years of my life, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm here at my 30s, maybe I should, like just think about like doing things I enjoy more because I've been just
Mhm.
worrying about the time that I'm wasting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if and then like when like and then like look at the bigger picture, you do realize that like the more time you spend worrying about shit that you can't uh, uh control, you're gonna waste that
Yeah.
and shit. So like
Mm-hmm.
I just and that's unfortunately what I don't know about your parents, but my dad definitely does that. And I was like, I don't want to be like a nervous wreck
No.
like him
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
So
I think like the thing to remember is like time is not being wasted if you're enjoying it and you're doing what you want with it.
yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
it. And it's funny, I hate to say this because it's so dumb, right? When you think about inspiration and things like that. But if
Mm-hmm.
you really truly, if you go and you look up like when people became truly successful in their careers and their lives, a lot of these people were well into their 30s, almost 40.
yeah,
Like if
honestly,
you look
yeah,
at
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
celebrities who become successful, like it took them time. And like we do come from the generation of like 16-year-olds becoming famous, right? Because of
yeah.
TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
if you really look at it, like that's sensationalized media bullshit. And a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
people make it to 25 and they're irrelevant. So it's like,
Yeah.
don't stress yourself out about because that kid got their 5 seconds of fame. Like you can do anything with your life. You have tons of time ahead of you. And that's like,
Hmm.
it doesn't always have to be about how successful you are to everyone else. It's just about like enjoying what you have. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I am the first one to call my mom and be like, my life sucks. I'm not doing anything. I don't feel good. Like, I'm not progressing. I don't have all these things that I want. And
Mm-hmm.
then my friends will be like, girl, really? You have all these things. And it's like sometimes you need to have that perspective of like, okay, maybe I'm not exactly where I think that I was supposed to be at this time in my life,
Hmm.
but the things that were meant for me are coming for me and they won't pass me and I'll get there and I'm getting there and maybe I'm going to do it slower than everyone else. But while everyone else is on their downward, I'm
You're
going
gonna
to
be
be
up.
able to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be moving, progressing, going up, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're going to be doing something. So don't
Yeah.
worry about where you are in comparison to everyone else.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. It just kind of, yeah, that's the thing. Just like I look at other people's lives and I was like I am a late bloomer. I know that for a fact. Um, and then I see other people who are also boomers too. So I take that as a thing, but like okay, it isn't a race if you don't like
If
think
you
about
don't
it.
care. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't think about it.
Yeah.
One of my
Sorry, Bailey.
one of my favorite subcultures to observe this shit is like watching skateboarding transform with age.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because with the internet now, there's always going to be some 12-year-old who can jump down more stairs than you. You know what I mean? No matter how
Mhm.
good you are, some kid is going to post a clip to Instagram that's going to be better than whatever you can do. So it's
I
this
mean,
weird acceptance of like just
mhm.
your commitment to an art form, or you doing something because you want to. And
Yes.
like things change, like we're talking about age and the internet culture, it's like a lot less judgy of if it's just an old man doing a little jump. There's not a bunch of people
Because it's
going like,
cute.
oh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
dork, you loser. It's just like, yeah, you go for it, because it's why judge the age everyone's taking. It's a different form of expression, and life is your own form of creative expression, Raza.
That's it. I mean, look at the Jackass guys. They're all in their 40s, and
Yeah, I
Steve-O
was
is
just about to
still
bring.
making,
Yeah.
yeah, he's still
Yeah.
making regular visits to the ER, and he's doing just fine.
Like
So,
I was like the best example that like that I can bring on this is like during the height of the pandemic, seniors were building computers for gaming,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I can definitely relate to that. And like people like older, like like even a week before my birthday, I was like thinking like, oh, bro, I think I may have to stop gaming soon. And I realized,
No.
wait a second. Like, yeah, back in when we were kids, it would be considered a hobby, but now it's like it's a literal like job or for some people. So like I say like times times are changing.
You know,
And
it's
shit's getting real fast. So that's all I need to add.
it's
But
so
yeah.
funny. It's so funny you say that because I had this similar conversation with I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking about anime and I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm getting too old to like be so into anime." But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, are you watching an anime? What is it about?" Like literally considering watching like a 15 plus hour anime because I told her it
Yeah.
was good. Like it
Mhm.
really doesn't matter. Like it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
Enjoy what
and
you enjoy. Like
exactly. And I was like, yo, bro, I want to dress like do some like cosplaying shit in the future. And I
yes.
was thinking,
Do it.
maybe I'm too old for that. But then I realized, wait a
No.
second, Robert Downey Jr. wore a green suit when he was in his late or his mid 50s. So
I mean
that ship has sailed.
he's cosplaying right now.
Yeah,
Like
bro. Honestly, like I hate when people are like, "Oh, you can't do a certain thing because
mhm.
it's out of your your like age
Yeah.
thing." You're like,
Mm-hmm.
Also, like as someone who's like older, I guess, I surround myself with varying ages of people. So like
yeah,
I have some friends that are like 39 and I have some friends that are like 27. And I
hmm
feel like for me it's really widened my perspective because I'm both the old person in the room sometimes and the young person in the room. And
yeah,
when you experience that variety of people, like it really helps. Like I think one of my really good girlfriends is younger than me and she's always like kind of looking up to me and she's like, you know, like you're so young and you're so fun and you're these things and you have all this advice and it's like having like an older sister and she it, like says those things and it puts into perspective that like I think that I'm old, but she thinks that
hmm
like I'm still cool. So it's like,
Yeah.
what does age like? What does age have anything to do with it? You could still be cool.
Like
Who cares?
look at George Clooney.
Anyway,
But
moving on.
George fucking Clooney. That is not what I anticipated. Oh my god.
He's one of the finest looking. Like yeah, and like you can still do young people shit in your like later years. So like it doesn't. There's no prerequisite like oh. Like for example, like Keanu Reeves, he's doing martial arts. He's like 56, right? So like,
You know what?
sorry.
You're right. No, you're right, because my old boss at my salon, he's 40. I shouldn't expose his age, but he's in his late 40s, and he started going to karate again.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Power to him. Yeah.
what's the problem with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Go for it, dude. Have a good time.
Welcome to Bailey's life. I'm just constantly telling people, just do it. Just do it. Just
do it,
it.
bro. Whatever. Who cares?
Meanwhile, there's him like getting panic attacks at every new moment in his life.
No,
love you, Bill.
Doing better now. I can find my happy place. My therapist has taught me well. I'm relaxed.
I'm relaxed, as you can see his muscles popping out. Shirt over there.
I'm relaxed. Do you see the arms?
With his short sleeve shirt. Jeez.
Totally not flexing on guys.
Honestly.
But, yeah. Oh my God.
No, but yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
It's like good that like now in our day of age, like age is in certain degrees, like age is a number. I think we know the one like age is not a number, just a number. That's what I mean. But in other aspects of life, like your health and shit, yeah, age is literally
means nothing.
just a number, yeah. But
I'm still gonna lie about my age.
I'm still 20. To my mom, I'm still a 20-year-old boy. So
I mean, my mom has her 26th birthday every year. So.
Oh, cool. My mom has her 72nd birthday every year, and she's 65 years old. I'm just like, you're like a day over 70, Mom.
Aww.
But crazy. Yeah, because my grandma, shout out to Fran. Fran's only like 76.
Shout out Fran.
That's my grandma's age. Tight.
Yeah, she's nice and young.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Panda. That's yeah. Okay, sounds good. So moving on to the next section. Raza's picked out a good one for us, and it's a good adult conversation about like raising kids and transformational. This is a tense one. I haven't read it all the way through, so please excuse me if I have to censor.
Can I be honest with you, Bailey? The only reason why I picked it because it's short.
Okay.
Mm.
So.
All right. So. What does WIBTA? Call me a Reddit noob. Sorry.
What if I'm the asshole?
What if I'm the asshole?
What if I'm the asshole?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. I, 24 female, have a sister, 21 female, who got pregnant at 19 off of a one-night stand. She lives out of state, so I hardly see her. Every couple of months, I will go and visit, and her house is absolutely disgusting. Dirty diapers on the floor, shout out Panda, laundry piled up everywhere, trash overflowing, moldy food sitting around, etc. The house isn't one a child should be living in. Along with that, there are no child barriers anywhere, and I constantly see her kid going through areas of the house that should be off limits. Along with all of this, her child is noticeably underweight for their age group and is always wearing filthy clothing. I've spoken to her about all of my concerns, yet she chooses to ignore them. I know for a fact at least half of my family will disown me if I do this, but I plan on calling Child Protective Services on her anyways. To my knowledge, none of our family members would take the child, including my husband and I. Would I be the asshole for calling CPS on my sister and possibly having her kid put into foster care?
Let's unpack this.
This hits close to home too, so I feel you. This is a tricky dicky one.
Just
So
hard.
this is where a Raza is gonna tap out. He came from a stable household.
Okay, but
I
I have
think
a
there has
very
to be
serious
some sort
opinion.
of, because I'm not with snitching. There's got to be some sort of middle ground, right?
Teachers get
There's got to
stitches,
be,
right? Yeah.
you got to be able to find like maybe a mediator or another family friend or a whole family that knows your family. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be another step to take before
Yeah.
like just taking the kid, because it doesn't sound like I've spoken to her about my concerns, but like maybe try to take the extra step, maybe offer to pay
See,
for like counseling, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
are there like stages when CPP first comes to your place and they're like, "Hey, we're just here
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
assess the situation
You
first."
basically get written up.
Right.
And then they do regular visits to see if you're maintaining specific behavior. So okay, I don't think she would be the asshole if she did that. If
Mm.
if genuinely there is no support system other than her offering words. However, if you know that there is a real risk that the child may be removed from the home and you're not willing to step in and take care of that child should CPS get involved, then yeah, you are an asshole. So the fact that she made a point of saying my husband and I would not be taking the child in. So do you actually care about the child's well-being, or is this because you want to one up your sister? That's my question, right? Now,
Yeah.
if it was me and I noticed an imbalance in my siblings' life with their child, I would simply move in. Like, I would just simply be there literally as much as physically possible. Like, I would literally just step in. And I'm the kind of
Yeah.
person that would be like, look, can you handle this? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then I will just step in and help you as much as I can. Because I personally couldn't just be like, well, good luck. Because I just personally feel like a child's life is not an opportunity for an adult to learn a lesson. That's my opinion. Because now
Right.
you're dealing with somebody else's life. It's not a teaching tool. That's how
Hmm.
I feel.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
and
just I
I
just feel
think
like there's certain things in life, like, okay, I'm a godparent for a reason. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
legit,
yeah.
that's a very big thing. Like, people take being a godparent as a joke.
Mhm.
No, if somebody's making you, I have full intent. Should my friend need me to step in, like, full intent, it's there.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I,
that's why I signed up for that, because I
I,
understand the responsibility of that.
I'm a godparent too, but I'm pretty sure I take it differently than you. Like you take it more seriously than I do.
I just feel
But
like a child's life is just not, because this is the thing. Like, I don't want to get into a rant because
That's
I can.
can I hop in that I say I
Yeah,
fucking agree. I agree. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. And I think people take that for granted that like the kid, it's like a whole other life that you're fostering, and you don't understand the impact you may be making. So,
Because
sorry.
this is the
as
thing. Like,
a white
at,
man, I wouldn't get involved. Don't
No
want to
chat
be.
during the podcast. We're recording, fam.
Sorry, sorry.
Thank you. Continue, Wine Mom.
um, I've lost my thought. What was I
Sorry.
gonna say? No, it's okay. I just feel like children are gonna remember things, right? And things imprint on them, right? Regardless of like how old or how, like, things imprint on them subconsciously. And it's just like, if you know that there's an imbalance in a home, and like but I guess I'm just like, I guess maybe I just feel different. I'm curious as to what the responses were underneath the post about how many people were like, yeah, call CPS or whatever. I just anyways, my point is a child's life is not an opportunity for an adult to learn a lesson. So step
Yeah,
Yeah,
in or shut
yeah.
up.
I
People
agree with
abuse that
that.
system, so.
What? So I'm stealing it from one of the podcasts I listen to. Is it's always like presence over presence, right? Like make sure you're
Yeah.
there instead of like just gifting things and trying to make up for it later. Like, it's always
Exactly.
just being there will always measurably be more. So if you're sloppying up the house and not taking care taking care of the kid in that way, that overall contributes to the sloppy snowball, right?
The thing is, Okay, I don't know what it was like for you guys growing up, but the trend when I was growing up was like, be the person that you needed when you were younger.
Mhm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
is something that really sticks with me very strongly, is that I truly believe in being the person that I didn't have growing up, you know? And so I just couldn't just ignore that or remove myself with a party. I just couldn't do that. So for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you don't know what you could mean to the child to step in and help, because think if it was you, right? And help people, sometimes people need help and they're too scared or too embarrassed to ask for help.
Mhm.
So that's just how I feel about it, but yeah.
That's why I'm trying to say there's got to be a middle ground, but before calling the protective services, right? Because there's so many gray lines there that you've got to be able to like step in with some sort of like counseling or offer of support, because who knows what the winding path was that got them there, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we both comprehensively covered that. Like, you can fucking
I
life
think
has
look, I
winding
think
paths, and we shouldn't judge
right.
people for how they
Right.
find their own. Right? Sorry, go.
Well,
I didn't mean to take
no,
you there.
I was just gonna say, like, in conclusion, if you call CPS and you have no intent of supporting the child, then yes, you are an asshole. But if you're calling CPS with the intent to bring awareness to your sister and then give you an opportunity to step in more and help, then no, you're not an asshole. So think
Yeah.
about that really hard when you decide to make that call. Think about who you're going to be at the end of that call. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, and people don't really think how much damage
Yeah.
they're they're doing. They just think like, oh, I'm gonna call CPP, and like do some good,
Yeah.
without realizing, oh, there's like a human being that you're actually
Yeah.
discussing.
Mm-hmm.
And foster care is garbage. So
Yeah.
Oh
think
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foster care sucks. But
Yeah.
so on a still
Show.
somber but equally funny note, we got a tweet of the week from Raza. So, if you're ready, Wine Mom, I'm
ready.
I'm gonna flip it live and I'm gonna read it for you. It says, if I had 3 wishes, I would wish for women's rights, women to know that I wished for their rights, and $75 million.
He's going to be a very happy man.
Yeah.
Very, very happy man.
Yeah.
Not that controversial of a topic. I think
No,
we
I
all
like
agree.
it.
I
Spicy.
think we all want the money. Thank you. Welcome to our anti-bad people podcast, where I can't say the denomination of people.
Why?
So we don't get banned.
Oh well, that's fine.
Call out the dirtbags. So thank you, everybody.
The degenerates.
The degenerates, the 4chaners, but whatever. All right. So kids, we had a fun time this week. We hope you didn't have an existential crisis or a panic attack or an anxiety attack while listening to this pod. And if you did, please email us with your recollection so that we can read it at the end of our next show. Raza,
What's your personal email, Bailey?
Oh God.
It's WIFF.
It's not that. He's lying to you.
Anyway.
So
carry on. For real though, email us though.
For real though, email us if you got any questions, you want to get in for the advice. We're going to hit up and I'm going to make an actual ad for it, and we'll throw it up on the channel and get it on Instagram. Maybe make a goofy TikTok or two. I'm sorry for getting grumpy at Raza live on air, and if you're watching this, you're welcome to chat during the show. But what we're going to do is we're going to sneakily talk to you so that these kids listen to the smooth audio version. They're none the wiser. But we appreciate you guys coming here, and if you don't want to deal with that, you can chat with us afterwards, where we actually just hang out while Raza schools us in some extraction. I'm excited to see this. But thank you everybody. We appreciate you. I'm putting the outro on, and thank you.
Thank you again for watching us badly talk about these topics.
You can follow us on Twitch, Marching Into Madness, all one word, no space. On the gram, marching_into_madness. And on Patreon at patreon.com/marching-into-madness. And again on Le Discord at marching-into-madness.
Join us, and Bailey will pay you 10 whole Canadian dollars.
You can follow Whitey over at gnarly_media on the Insta. You must definitely follow the life of our whole podcast, Wine Mom, at XWineMomX, because the year's 2002, and we still have the X in our names. And me, your favorite brown boy, at _R.R_Malik_.
Thank you for the third time. We love you. Drink some milk and be healthy.
Remember, kids, say no to school and yes to
It's like such bad advice. It's like, here we put this well-formulated podcast together with good insight on facts and truth and political points and social issues. Don't go to school, dude.
Oh, God.
Bailey listens to me.
Shouldn't be near school after saying that.
It's like, Bailey listens to me say the sentence and he goes, maybe I should say my sentence now.